Hey, what's up? I'm back. I realized I'd been doing some of these with the internal mic. Sounds real bad. So I finally got this fucker back on. Let me share this shit. What do you think? Over on the Facebook, here's a current one. Fucking yeah, baby. Hey, everybody, come on. Come on and get over here. Yo, come dig it. All right, I'm trying to like post and shit. All right, here we go. I don't even have my chapter up properly. Here we go. Shattered Worlds, Day 1, Book 3, The Event. No, that's not right. Fuck. Book 3, Leaving the Rock. Chapter 1. The safe house had 3 exits, but only one was large enough for Grundle. The plan was fairly simple. Joran and Ayana would requisition a refrigerated truck, ostensibly to provide meat and produce for the temple. The driver and 2 guards would be members of the ship's crew, a Zentradi navigator, a Gillamorian engineer, and a Yafriti weapons expert named Faline Feyroon. Faline exited the vehicle, threw open the side door, and passed several large boxes to Ayana's acolytes. A trio of paramilitary thugs rolled by in an SSC van, guns held high, the driver peering at the Gillamorian suspiciously. The van stopped a block down, presumably so they could study the scene from a safe distance. The heroes emerged, Ayana in the lead, clad in a blood-soaked robe, covered with a simple blue cloak, her hammer slung on a cord at her waist. She was flanked by 2 assistants, Celine and Joran, cloaked by one of Sophris's illusions to appear as female acolytes. Grundle had been squeezed into the cart, which made it extremely hard to push. Joran's muscles strained as he pushed the thing across the short distance. As Celine and Sophris, as Sophris and Joran climbed into the trunk, Sophris moved the illusion in front of the cart so Grundle could crawl into the truck unseen. Ayana hopped up into the cab, and Celine's illusionary acolytes floated back into the safe house. He was covered in sweat by the time the door slammed shut. Joran patted him down with a wet towel, squeezing water into his trembling mouth. Takes a lot out of you, huh? Sophris nodded weakly. Grundle put a great meaty hand on his shoulder and squeezed lightly. And, just like that, they were a team. The intercom switched on. It was Ayana, her voice commanding and stern. You guys okay back there? Joran met the gaze of his fellows, then pushed the button. Yes, your mercy. Good. Let's get off this goddamned rock. The Gillamorian rolled the truck cautiously out into traffic, joining the other tense drivers in a slow crawl through the smoking city. As they passed the fake police van, Ayana looked straight ahead, eyes fixed on the horizon. Man, fucking love this book. I feel so cheesy, but I really love it. All right. Ayana watched her traveling companions with deep suspicion. Oh, fuck. Gotta do the chapter number and stuff. How we doing on time? 4 minutes? Okay. Try to keep all these at or under 20 minutes if possible. Keep it bite-sized. Excuse me. Chapter 2. Ayana watched her traveling companions with deep suspicion. She expected the truck to be surrounded by enemies at every intersection. But the trip was blessedly uneventful and relatively quick. The driver didn't speak. That wasn't too much of a surprise, though. Gillamorians weren't generally known for their conversational skills. The Zentridi, on the other hand, wouldn't shut up. He clearly loved the sound of his own voice and had taken to his role as delivery worker with gusto, adopting the rough and ready patois of the Antares lower classes. She'd come across his sort before, that obnoxious kind of professional cultural appropriator who seemed to think he was the first to find poor people quaint and foolishly charming. "You're going to love our ship, Miss Landrew," her cover identity until they left the base. "She's a real humdinger of a vessel, I'll tell you what. We have tons of vids on board, liquor of all sorts. Oh, wait, you don't imbibe, do you? Well, anywho, you're bound to have a whale of a time. You ever seen a whale? We got every kind you could think of back on my home planet. You got your red ones, the real big blue ones. You got them little gray guys they call dwarf whales, on account of their small stature, of course." She turned her attention to the window, hoping this joker wouldn't keep this up too much longer. She pulled her robes tighter around herself and fascinated a damn it. She pulled her robes tighter around herself and fantasized about the coffee and pastries she'd not be eating that evening. She'd more or less hated this place since the day she arrived, but she'd grown to love the culture. The slightly bitter taste of over roasted coffee, the heavily buttered baked goods, and the brusque but kindly women who made them, the pole jugglers in their outlandish costumes, the beggar children with their outstretched hands and large, expectant faces. She could see them all, feeling the wistfulness that would only grow the farther away they traveled from the base. "How long have you known the captain?" The Zentridi gulped and looked about. Whispering, he said, "My lady, we're supposed to be workmen." She stared, clearly annoyed. He resumed, "I've known the captain for 7 years, my lady. 7 years of danger and excitement. I will tell you, I have never met his like. Truly a man of action. I'd be amazed if you didn't immediately take to him." His smile was irritating, but for the first time during their brief trip, it seemed genuine. She'd rarely seen such admiration for a superior. Perhaps this unnamed captain was as dashing as was claimed. "I'm sure that will be the case. He comes highly regarded." The truck pulled into the alleyway and slowed to a stop. There, leaning against a wall, chromed pistol on his belt and a book in his hand, was one of the most beautiful men Ayanna had ever seen. She felt a stirring somewhere in her chest and immediately chastised her body for producing such a superficial reaction. "That's him. That's the captain." The Zentridi was smiling even wider and gripping her upper arm with excitement. The dashing, handsome gentleman walked to her door, sliding the book inside his vest. As he reached the van, he smiled. "Damn it, he's a goddamn superhero." She cursed her own body, her skin tightening, thighs tingling with unwanted desire. He opened the door with a flourish. He dipped the tip of his cap and spoke in a lilting cadence. "My lady, it is a pleasure to finally meet you. Your reputation precedes you." She didn't miss the quick flash of his eyes along the length of her body, and she had to admit, she kind of liked it. Her voice caught in her throat. You, you flatter me, Captain Thraxis." He dipped his cap again as she reached the ground. "On the contrary, you are as beloved as you are beautiful, your mercy." Their hands remained clasped, tiny beads of sweat forming between her fingers. Damn it. Damn it. The sliding door clattered open, shattering the moment. She breathed a sigh of release. No, that's another thing. She breathed a sigh of relief, taking back her hand with a bit too much force. Damn it. She would have to keep an eye on this one. Hell yeah. All right. Leaving the Rock. Chapter 3. The table was well lit with candles and adorned with food. Captain Thraxus clearly had excellent taste, no doubt working personally with the chef to create a delicious menu fit for everyone. Even Grundle's particular dietary needs were satisfied, and the wine, exquisite, perfectly paired to each dish and rich with subtle flavors. You certainly know how to make someone feel welcome, Captain Thraxus. Grundle tore at a bantam leg between sentences. The captain smiled that knowing smile, dipping his head just a touch in Grundle's direction. You honor me, sir. Ayanna rolled her eyes at the fakery of it all. Clearly, the captain was used to being fawned over. She was most annoyed by her inability to take her eyes off his elegantly sculpted features and his occasional hungry looks in her direction. Goddess, he was good. The captain gestured in Sophros's direction. Mr. Martin, who do you think is really behind the attacks? Many are expressing doubt with the official story. Sophros appeared calm, excessively so. He began, slowly, to speak. My lord, I fear I am little more than a dispassionate observer in this matter. One can hardly say that I would know more than you, or anyone, who is truly responsible. The captain's smile dipped, ever so slightly. He tipped his head again and sipped from his goblet. Very diplomatic, Mr. Martin. Yours is a cautious mind. It is a peculiar trait common to those of my race, my lord. We are loath, generally, to express definitive opinions when evidence is scant. The Zentradi took the momentary pause as entry to speak. Scant? More like non-existent. These cops seem more like thugs than public servants. Makes one wonder if they might not have had something to do with it. A pall fell over the table. Clearly, the Zentradi was dead. Sorry, water. Ugh. Intrigue. A pall fell over the table. Clearly, the Zentradi was testing them, seeing if any of them were stupid enough to break cover. Ayanna said an internal prayer for calm and returned to her dinner. The captain waved off the navigator's gambit. Enough of current events, Numerius. Our guests are a cultured lot. What say we select some music for this occasion? The rest of the evening was spent luxuriating in the private chamber, meeting the chef, smoking cigars, enjoying a wide range of tasteful musical selections, and conversation on a great many topics. Peppered in ever so briefly were the merest hints of inquiry into Ayanna's private life and personal history. It was obvious what he was up to, but Ayanna had to admit the prospect was intriguing. Were she not so focused on her mission, perhaps a casual dalliance with the man wouldn't be so terrible. She sighed, momentarily aggrieved by her stringent commitment to the goddess. A little light entertainment could be just the thing for her sore muscles. She'd given so much to the cause. What was one night of sin compared to a lifetime of saintliness? What indeed? I ask thee. So I'll cut her off there. That's Leaving the Rock. So the Rock is what they call Antares asteroid base. Um, yeah. So what do you guys think? I mean, is it good? I don't know. I'm enjoying it. Dig it. I'm gonna keep going. Next time, Boarding the Horus. It's a funny name, huh? The Horus was an impressive vessel, burnished bronze with green tinted windows. Yeah, I fucking love this book, y'all. I don't care if you don't like it. I'm gonna keep reading it because it good. All right, see you guys. Holler at your boy at El Jefe Tacoma.